Hello and welcome to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/drive-in double feature podcast. It is a very secret organization that we have over there at patreon.com/drive-in double feature podcast. I'm not even going to tell you what we're talking about. Stuff that
Oh, wow.
for for patron ears only. And if you want to see what these hot topics are about, you gotta go head over there and see what we're talking about. I will
Hmm.
say it's fun. So
Yeah, it is fun. You can at least
it,
let them know that.
I will let them know that. But that's just a little
Hmm.
bit of a tease for you. If you want to see what's going
Hmm.
on, head on over there. But today we're going to be talking about 1957's The Mysterians, and that's directed by our favorite director, Ishirō Honda. He's
Who?
back.
And Cheerio, who?
And Ishirō Hondo's.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Him.
the American version of that.
Yeah.
Um, but this one is the Mysterians. No relation to any of the other uh, kaiju movies. There is a monster in this one, but this one is more along the lines of Invasion of the Astro Monster, where it is a alien movie before it's anything else.
Yeah.
And this movie actually predates the Invasion of the Astro Monster. So there you go. So
Cool. So it's all there. It's all setting up.
yeah, and I want to say it's so like Toho, they were wanting to make their own sci-fi movies because they were seeing how successful a lot of the other sci-fi movies were. So
Hmm.
uh, Tomoyuki Tanaka had commissioned them to make another sci-fi movie, but uh, and this is what they ended up making with, and they uh, they made something kind of similar to what we would see in other alien invasion movies that we'd see in America, wouldn't you say?
No, I would say so. I was just reading up on this movie. It feels a lot like War of the Worlds in a way, and I think there's hints of that there. And yeah, yeah, I see a lot of the influence there.
Yeah, and how it starts out is that they uh, they end up crash landing onto into Earth, and basically they say that they're pacifists, but
It
they
doesn't really seem like it.
doesn't really seem like it, and it's more so they're saying they want to take over Earth, but it's for Earth's own good, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly, because their planet was destroyed by warfare, by hydrogen bombs. They even say like, if you ever think of dropping an atom bomb on us, we can do far worse to you. We can drop about like 30 of those on you. So it seems like they
Yeah,
were just like Earth, but destroyed
I
themselves.
I really like their outfits because they. I always kept thinking of like they look like Power
They
Rangers.
do. They're like bright colors and everything. I love it.
Yeah, they got the big giant colorful helmets. They have
Mhm.
capes, and they
Mhm.
it looks pretty funny, I'll say. And
Yeah.
uh, they do send out a giant robot monster named Mogura,
Yeah.
and it looks like a giant mole drill monster.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. He's an odd looking guy. Does he ever show up again?
Yeah, he actually does become a pretty big part of the Godzilla franchise.
Really? Yeah, he's kind of like I feel like we've had another monster to describe this way, like a chicken robot kind of is the best way I would. He kind of looks like a chicken to me.
He looks like a chick. How does he look like a chicken? He looks
He's
like a
got like
mole.
that droll that I guess a mole, yeah, but that drill looks like a beak to me.
Well, it reminds me of. He kind of looks like that one Sonic character from like the Sonic cartoon show, where it's like grounder. You know what I'm talking. Or am I
I
am I
do.
am I dating myself here?
Yes, sounder. Yes. No, grounder. Grounder.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I know exactly who you're talking about,
he's got the
actually.
drill for hands. He's got a drill nose. Yeah, and
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
but no, I that it's a mole. It's supposed to be a mole.
Okay,
So
gotcha. The scariest of animals.
I know you're thinking robot chicken of Guy Gan there.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I mean, Gigan looks more like a chicken, but
Well, that one actually does have a beak, so yeah. And
okay. You're telling me this drill isn't a beak? Drills aren't beaks?
no.
What am I going on about? I don't know. I'm just trying to get a
uh,
reaction here.
well. Let me ask you this. So, what do you think of the costume? We
The
always
cost,
say, what do you think
um,
about what it looks like?
it's really silly. It's really silly. I don't know if I love it actually. I like the concept, I do, but maybe it's just because it's a little underutilized. This dude's like in the beginning of the movie and is pretty much like almost gone.
So, I mean, they use the monster to kind of protect their ship and everything. And when they see it, uh, they like the police are just like shooting pistols at it, like, oh, that's
Oh
gonna
my
do
god.
anything.
And those
And
scenes are so long of like military men just like shooting like machine guns and pistols at it, and it plays for a while.
yeah, that's a pretty common theme in this movie. And
Yes, yeah.
uh, this one I will like. There's one scene like in the beginning, like he shoots lasers out of his eye, and it sets a car on fire, and it's like one of the worst fire effects I've seen in a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty rough.
it's like basically if you had gotten like if you took a video of a car and you just put like a fire effect like from like a fire filter on your phone or something and just like ah,
Yeah,
like it's
but
on fire.
it was 1957. We can give him a break. And it's like I think one of the first color movies that Toho did is what I read.
Is it? I didn't. When did Rodan come out?
One of.
Yeah, Rodan predates this one, so it wasn't the first, but
No.
it was a one of the first. So, but yeah, the monster, how they defeat it, it gets defeated pretty easily because they do have like the military come in and try to stop it, and then they when the monster starts walking on a bridge, they just detonate the bridge and the monster falls and it's
Yeah,
dead.
I was surprised because like he's laying like dead on the ground, and I was like, oh, he's
and,
just gonna get back up, but they get him, they crush him.
and and then the movie's over because the monster's dead.
But guess what? That wasn't the real monster because the Mysterians over here are like, oh yeah, we're pacifists, and I don't understand why you would kill our giant monster that was destroying your village. That's really weird.
Well, yeah, and they finally they're like, let's talk this out, and they specifically like name the people they want onto their spaceship to have a discussion with.
And guess what? It's the main characters of the well, two of them are the main characters of the movie. Can you believe that?
Right, and
Um,
one of them is uh, one of them is an astronomer, and one of them is an astrophysicist. And
of course, exactly who when do you think they would like call like world leaders to this?
no, why would they do that?
Oh yeah. They have
uh,
to leave it up to these scientists because their plot is they want five specific women by name
that
that they want
I
they
I
want.
laughed at that part. They're like we want we're like they have a very specific demands. They're like we want a 35-mile radius to call our own land, and we have to breed with other human women because we anytime we try to breed with people of our own species, they have deformities.
And I think they say we just throw them out.
Right, we kill them. And but then I'm like, so wait, do they know for a fact if they sleep with a human woman, like it's going to produce like a livable offspring? Like they know
No,
this
they're
for a
just
fact.
trying their best.
They just want to get laid.
I could see that. And they just found like five women that they really liked and they were like, "Okay, we'll stage this."
But it's like so I don't want to. It's just funny because it's like a really passive aggressive move to be like, I'm calling these people to come have this meeting, and by the way, three of the women or two of the women we want to sleep with are women that you and
Yeah.
they're your girlfriend. Like it's
And
so
the other
calculated.
and the other three, they're like, oh, we already have the other three, so you just need to supply two of these women. And like, what are you supposed to do? Like, give those three women back? Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
But
and they're like, this is ridiculous, and they don't agree to this notion.
no, and of course we get a war with see, that's what kind of sucks. I wish it was like Power Rangers where they all got together and built like a giant monster together, because I think so this movie I think has a really cool concept. I liked it at first, but I think it gets a little tiring, because the ending, they fight against their base that kind of just looks like an egg almost, and I just don't think the visuals are that interesting.
I I agree. I mean, while this one, I mean,
I like
for
it.
a
I'll say that.
for a cheesy Martian movie, it's pretty decent. It's not bad.
Mm, mm,
But I will say I agree with you. I think the visuals get overplayed, and
yeah.
it's. I mean, when you have like a Godzilla movie, like the monsters are always fighting or doing something like very animated, very kinetic, that you could
Hmm.
see them moving around and doing these types of scenes. But when it scenes like this, it's just like a little toy truck or little airplane, little toy jet, like firing
Hmm.
rockets and trying to hit this little egg shape or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm just at a certain point, I'm just like, okay,
I get
I
it.
get it, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but or if they're going to do that, I would like to maybe have more human element in this one, or maybe something like that. And I don't
Yeah.
really think we really get a whole lot of that, but we do get the return Takashi Shimura,
Yeah.
from the Seven Samurais movie and Ikaru, which I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool that he came
Yeah,
back.
because we haven't seen him in one of these in a while, because we're going back a little bit. So yeah, it's always nice seeing him. Um yeah, and of course it's God, Kenji Sahara playing kind of our main character that brings us all through this. And I like him. I actually
Yeah,
thought I was gonna like the human characters a lot more, because the first scene's really cool because they're at that like some type of festival just celebrating, and they seem like a good group of friends, but the movie starts to lose focus on that after a while.
yeah. Well, I mean, like one of the guys, he was engaged to be with one of the women, but he called off the engagement, and they're like, well, "Why are you doing this? Like, why are you being so weird about this whole thing?" And I guess,
Hmm.
and then when these Mysterians show up, the big twist of the movie is that this guy actually agrees with the Mysterians and wants
Hmm.
to help fulfill their mission. And they even say like why would you let the Mysterians like take over? Like, and they're like, well, humans take over inferior beings all the time. So how is this any different than that case? So, and
And you're supposed to agree with that.
right, but I don't know about you, but like that part of that, like that plot was like so underplayed, where
Hmm.
I'm like, this guy betrayed the human race to team up
Yeah.
with aliens, and it's just barely a focus, I feel like.
No, I agree. I think that would be a little more interesting. I'm forgetting, there's like a Godzilla movie, one of the later ones, where the scientist has like the android daughter or whatever, and like he has to give up himself or something. He becomes tied to the invading race, right? Is that not one of the later Godzilla movies or some Toho monster movie? But I'll say, yeah, that happens in one of those movies, and I think that deals with that a lot better. Where like this could have really dealt with like maybe him being conflicted, like why did I do this or something. It's more just like, yeah, I did it, and then in the end, he's like, oh, you know what, I don't want to anymore.
Well,
It's
yeah,
that great.
well, I mean, he makes the sacrifice himself because
Mm-hmm.
Kenji Zahara like breaks into the base, and he's there to rescue all the women.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a time when like they're surrounded by all the other Mysterians, but his friend is like, "No, you get out of here. I'm going to take the big sacrifice myself." And then he starts destroying the facility from within, because the big plan is they're going to get these uh, basically looks like a big satellite dish, and like anytime the Mysterians would shoot like their rays out from their spaceship or whatever, their
Hmm.
dome, it's going to reflect back at them and and kill them.
Yeah, it's um and like I said earlier, this visual of this is just not that interesting, I guess, because I've seen this before. It's like that shot from the gargantuans of the satellite dish shooting at the gargantuan that they used in multiple movies, and it kind of felt like that a little
Right.
bit.
Um, there's some silly moments leading up to this. Well,
Hmm.
one thing I wanted to say, I should have said it about the Mogra, but they do. There's another Mogra that comes up
That's true, yeah.
that does appear. One thing I was going to say about the suit, that looks like the most uncomfortable suit I've
Yeah.
seen. Like I don't know if you noticed, but like none of the legs, like there's like no movable joints and like anywhere in the entire body. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
I did notice that. I noticed it's a very stiff suit.
I kept thinking that that's like that has to be one of the most immobile suits I've seen in one of these movies, where it's just like I don't know what you're supposed to even do in that outfit.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some other funny scenes though where they there's like a United Nations scene, and there's a fair amount of English in this movie, and
I know.
there's
By like a white dude, right?
there's like well yeah there's like a British guy
Uh-huh.
that speaks very phonetic Japanese.
Yes, yeah.
I like hello domo arigato my friend.
I love it though because he's trying.
I just thought it was funny because it's just he's trying really hard to say Japanese, and they're just
Mhm.
oh yeah, he said it perfectly, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I because obviously I'm assuming it's probably what more of those English people that live in
Mhm.
Japan that they're just like roping in, like you got to be an actor now, even though they're not actually actors.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like some guy off. That's exactly what I thought. But there's even a Japanese character that speaks English in this movie, a translator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they had like the whole United Nations scene. I mean, that's like the other aspect of this movie is like getting they're debating on whether using nuclear weapons is right, and they're like,
Yes,
no,
yeah.
we don't want to turn out into all out war, just like what would happen before. And they're trying to get Russia the United States to team up with them,
Hmm.
but they're like Russia, United States, like, hey, we got our own problems we're worrying about here, and they're like to our problems today are going to be your problem tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. This is one you'd expect like maybe like the world would get together to save, but whatever. I guess these aliens only care about Japan.
Well, the only thing I'm wondering, so they make the plan to make these big giant satellite, these
Hmm.
reflecting dishes, and they have the blueprints for them, so they haven't built them yet. And when they show that they've been built, there's these really, really strong structures. So I'm just thinking, like, how long did it take for them to build that? Because I mean, even if you had hundreds of men working on that, it would still take weeks or months to build, I would
That's true.
think.
No, it would take forever, not like the quick time that this movie it wants you to
Well,
think it
oh
is.
yeah, I mean, it's like it's built tomorrow. That's like the timeline of the movie.
Yes, but yeah, those
Eh,
are like huge structures.
right. And at first, the plan doesn't work, and they when they try to invade the spaceship, and the Mysterians are like, okay, because of that, we want 75-mile radius particle land now, and we want even more women coming in here. So,
Which is so
um,
silly.
yeah, but they do eventually break into there, and it does work, and it does help. But they do send out a second Magra, like I said, but it's it's so ineffective. Like like because it does show it digging, so it does show it digging underground, and you can kind of see it's like a little puppet version of Magara, like
Hmm.
digging under there. and it pops its head up from the ground, and instead of it doing anything, like the one of the dishes just like falls on it. It's like, oh, it's dead. It didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's so pointless for the end of the movie. I was really surprised by it. Is it here though? Like one of my favorite miniature shots of this movie is the ground falling in and the truck falling in, and the little tiny like figure like jumps out of like the vehicle. I think that happens at this point. I love that.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
and the little miniature toy they add in a voice going, it's silly.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like there's more I could say about it, but I'm really trying to think of like anything significant. I mean, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of military attacking the Mysterian ship. I mean, so if you really love miniatures and stuff like that, it's pretty fun. I mean, it pretty much follows like the same plot line as any other alien invasion movies. The Mysterians, they have a pretty unique design. They look very
Yeah, they're cool.
memorable. Um, and I don't, like I said, I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. I just think I would have liked a little bit of variety in some of the action scenes that maybe
Mhm.
would have let it stand out a little more, or maybe had the characters become a little more developed. I think would have maybe like it a lot more. But as it stands, you know, I would give it a light recommend. I don't well
It's tough, right? Because like I would say I feel pretty positively about the movie, like fairly positive. I do think it does kind of get boring, but it's an interesting movie, cool setup. But I don't know if I recommend it. I don't think there's enough there
yeah,
to be like you got to go out and see this one.
that's true. I mean, I liked the movie well enough, but would I
Hmm.
tell somebody that you should watch this movie? Probably not, now that I'm thinking about it. I mean,
Yeah,
I would I mean, like I said, if you that's something you're looking for, I mean, there's definitely worse options out there. So, but I wouldn't I wouldn't go out of your way to see it by any means. I would have liked a little more
yeah.
out of this movie
And it,
before I felt comfortable recommending it.
and it's kind of obvious because I feel like we haven't said a lot because there just isn't a lot. This is one of those movies that I came out of and I was like, I don't know if there's a lot to talk about. I mean, of course, we got enough out of it, but it's just, I don't know. This one's actually like, at least according to Wikipedia, is looked back on really positively. Um, and I just I don't know. Maybe in 1957 terms, this was really cool stuff, but I guess
Oh,
now there's better versions of this that Toho has done.
well, I mean, this movie, I mean, it does have a pretty lasting legacy. I mean, one of the things, there's that one famous one hit wonder song called 96 Tears.
Hmm.
Uh, that the band is by Question Mark and the Mysterians.
Oh, I didn't
So
know that.
that's taken from this one. There's a made for TV movie called Mars Needs Women, which is based off of this plot line. Um, and like I said, Mogra does return in one of the Godzilla video games, and he's in one of the other Godzilla movies that we're going to talk about in future time. Who knows when?
Oh
But
yeah, who knows?
so, but this movie does have its fans, and I guess if I was younger watching this movie, I think I probably would have enjoyed it maybe a little more. Like maybe if
I
I
could see
was
that.
like, like 8 or 9 or something, watching one of these like on a Saturday morning, that would be like the ideal way to watch it. But
Mm,
like you said, though, I think this movie is more of like a response to Japan's version of War of the Worlds, and that's kind of what the inspiration where they said they kind of got it from is from the movie The War of the Worlds.
yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this one. I think let's say it's a worthy entry into there. I'm glad we got to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think it's a cool movie to talk about.
So, but we're gonna shut the book on Toho for now, and we'll get back into it next Bonzo when we do a different entry. But Nathan, what are we gonna be talking about next time?
All right, Ryan. On Tuesday, for the first movie in our double feature, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be doing a music movie. We're going to be talking about Frank Zappa's 200 Motels, which is streaming on Amazon Prime.
All right, great. Well, and pairing with that, we're gonna. Oh man,
What?
we're gonna be talking about the World War II movie Barefoot Gen.
Barefoot Jen?
Yeah, Barefoot Gen, and that
Okay.
is for free on YouTube. The English dub. I couldn't find the Japanese dub, but there maybe if you look hard enough, you can find it somewhere. But for now, the English dub will suffice. So uh, that is for free on YouTube right now.
Well, that
So,
begins a legendary double feature.
oh, will it? Um, but anyway, thank you so much for joining us today on Drive In Double Feature. If you have any thoughts, opinions, email us over at driveindoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on X at DIDFpod. And once again, check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Drive In Double Feature Podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.